Morning, everybody. Hey, I'll tell you what, welcome back to our show this week. You know what an exciting day. You know, it's been walleye, but today we're down in Madison fishing with our good friend, Mr. Big B, Brian Zupke from Big B Guide Service, and we're actually going to be targeting panfish. And you know what? This guy is always about catching big gills and nice perch. So I'll tell you, you know what? We're going to go out and we're going to try to figure out how we can find these fish, obviously using live scope. And this guy knows a lot about targeting these fish with forward. Kick your what? Oh, kick your what? Let's go. We're gonna be running 3 different live scopes in our boat today. And I'll tell you, Brian is definitely dialed when it comes to running forward imaging. You know what? This is gonna be one of them kind of things where hopefully we catch some big gills or some big perch, but more so, hopefully you guys learn about how to properly use your electronics. And that's really what it's all about. It's always about learning. We also have some of our partners today from Drexel with us, and maybe we'll talk to them a little bit about what's going on in the building world. I'll tell you, it seems like it's a crazy thing. The price of materials have come down a little bit, but there's always something. If you own a house or you own a cottage, there's always something that needs to be done to it. And these guys have great products. And we'll talk a little bit about that today too. So hang on to your heinies.
So the back of the boat is right here where the start line is. Right when you see the bed show up on there is where you need to cast. So now
we're trying to target big gills today.
Yep, big boys.
And girls?
There's a lot. Yeah, there's some big females in here too.
Right.
But they're probably all spawned out. But you can see how much action that worm's going to have now. Bluegills like to spawn on sandy, gravelly bottoms, so mostly eelgrass grows on that.
Are we keeping any of these?
Yeah, we keep some.
Yeah.
So that's
some nice gills.
Yeah. So that fish was right outside of the boat right here.
That's what we're looking for. And you say you're unlucky. I don't know about that. Oh, that's a feisty one. Oh, hold that one up. Get that. Man. That's a big gill.
So that's a female, Nick.
So what are we learning?
That is probably, you know, a 9.5, 9 3/4 inch fish.
Bigger than that.
Yeah, he's tall. They just look bigger because they're tall. Get some good shots with this.
Oh, you got him, Bill?
So.
Yeah, he's got one. There you go.
Right behind the boat. Yeah, that's cool. That's enough. Look at the colors on that one. Hey, Zoop, typically I do an Albright knot, and I've been really happy with that. But you're talking that you like to tie an Alberto.
Alberto, yeah, because it's a little thinner profile. It goes through the guides a lot better, especially when you're using ultralight rods.
Okay.
My tag on floral, and then I got my main line leader braid.
Yep.
Braid lasts longer on the spool. It floats, so you can use it for cork fishing too. Keeps it on the surface. So you wet it, made your little loop, go through it, grab your tag on here for the braid, and then you wrap it. I do about 7-8 times, and then you go back, up it.
Oh, so you're just reversing it?
Yeah,
now.
reversing it, and then you go back through the hole that you made.
That's interesting.
Yep, and then you pull it tight. It's the most important one to clip is your floral one. You want to get that one real tight to the line.
Okay, why is that?
Because it'll catch in your spool if you got too long.
What do you got going there? Look, that's a nice fish too. Something. It's almost fighting. Oh. Them are hog gills. That's a nice one. I just laugh when I see them.
Look at the size of that
Doesn't
thing.
even look real.
I don't. They're just slob holes.
Is it Larry good?
So what I like to do also is use the boat if you're having a hard time seeing where you're wanting to look. You point the boat in the direction where you want to go, and it'll actually give you a line where you're driving, and that'll actually line up the boat where you want to go. And you come on here on your graph. Right now I moved the cursor to the waypoint, and it shows that I'm 53 feet from it right now from the locator to the waypoint that I want to fish. So the next one, let's see how far away the next one is. So it tells you how far you need to cast. 80 feet, 80.6 feet I am from the next waypoint. So 50 and 80. Yeah, you can. That's not that far, Larry.
I'm probably 2 feet short. Ate it. No, you're good. It's a good fish right there. Look at the size of it. Woo-hoo! My first one of the day right there. And it is absolutely a beaut. I can't believe that these are only like 9 inches. They certainly look like, when they're in the water, you pull them out, they certainly look like they're about 10, 11 inches. But great fish right there. Feels like a decent one. They all feel good. It's amazing how good they fight. That is everybody loves to eat bluegills and catch bluegills, and you can understand why, because they are great battlers. I'm used to seeing bluegills that are, 6, 7 inches, not where they're all 8. We haven't caught a 10 yet, but we've only been out here for an hour. This does not feel like a bluegill at all. Oh, pike.
Is it keeper?
Oh, he just took my whole rig.
Oh, I would have kept them too.
I know it. Yep, got my whole rig. Where's my net guy? I think about the Madison chain, and I think about the amount of pressure that these fish get here, and I don't understand how this maintains such a great population of panfish.
So I think these lakes are so abundant because of how fertile they are.
Right.
The lot of food in here, good weed growth. We just have really good overall genetics. People practice catch and release during the spawn. Yep. To keep the genetics healthy in this lake. There's a lot of aspects that go into this lake, and this lake is honestly one of the hardest lakes to fish in the chain.
Ooh, a double. Double up.
Mine's bigger.
Yours is bigger? How big is yours? Ooh, you got a nice one. Mine's not too bad either.
No, yours is a good one.
I'll take them any day of the week. Boy, they're solid too.
Yeah, they are.
Thick fish like that.
So
that's Bill.
Thanks,
Bill
Larry.
The science guy.
Bill. Oh, that
is, yeah.
One of the morning. That is a giant. Bluegill, it's got to be a giant. Oh, now they're dandy. Boy, Brian, I'll tell you. How big that fit? That looks like a 10-incher.
No, that's probably 9.5.
Jeepers.
Here, look at that, Larry. That's a 10.
Wow.
Oh, just over 10.25.
That is a big gill.
And her tail's a little chipped up too. Look at it, it's almost 10.5, Larry.
Hey everybody, welcome to our Leroy Lunchtime. Today we have my favorite, of course, the Buck and Bite venison sticks. I'll tell you, these are absolutely awesome. And I'm looking at Big B over here. He's just absolutely drooling like a little baby, right? Hey, would you like one?
Yeah. You'll be able to tear that open?
Well, I'll tell you, always guess first.
Oh, damn, you said you want one. You handed my way.
You're not going to give Nick one?
Here you go, Nicholas.
Ooh, a little tanker. I just cannot get over the average size of these gills. Like, how can that, this one's got to be, this is going on the bump board. I mean, the average size of these gills is just absolutely amazing. And I love actually fishing the drop shot rig a lot better than casting a bobber. Especially when you especially when you have all the weeds down there. It just puts that bait right where the fish are suspended, and it works out absolutely perfect to be able to pull through there. And it's weedless, right? I mean, you're not pulling in a lot of weeds. You're able to work through that really good. And them fish are just hiding right in there. Hey, so we gotta put this one on.
Yeah,
how long are you saying this fish
that
is?
That fish is probably, I'm gonna say 10 1/8.
10 1/8.
It might be a little shorter.
I
gotta get my hand on it.
I've only caught maybe 3 or 4 bluegills over 10 inches. Let's see how big this one is. Hey Brian, when you are coming out here, and let's just say you're somebody that's never fished out here before, and you want to target these giant bluegills, what kind of weeds do you look for? Because obviously in a lot of these lakes, there's a lot of weeds, no different than Winnebago, but really there's only a couple weeds that are really productive. Like on Winnebago, it's coontail, and then there's a couple of grasses that will hold on some of the reefs that will hold good walleyes. So when you're coming down to the Madison chain, what kind of weeds are you looking for?
I'm looking for eelgrass.
Okay. And what does eelgrass look like?
It's on like your lawn, kind of. Then, I'm looking for some of the invasive species are actually good too.
Milfoil.
Milfoil, yep. I like the eelgrass, during the spawn. Indicates a hard bottom.
Boop. There you go. Hey, again, for me, I prefer to use, a 7-foot rod. This is a fast mod. This is probably one of my favorite rods by Mags right here. And I use it for walleye fishing. I use it for any type of pan fishing. But again, the key is definitely to cast out as far as you can using a fluorocarbon and for a leader. And then obviously I'm using a super braid. And I'm using 6-pound test super braid. And basically, again, when I'm casting, if you guys want to I'm making as far a cast as I can. And what I'm doing is I'm keeping my rod between 9 o'clock and 12 o'clock. And I think that's key right there, to be able to keep that angle of that hook up to, instead of dropping your rod too far down. Definitely, unless it's super windy and you're forced to keep that rod down tight, always try to keep that rod up high. And again, not too high, because if you're up too high, then all of a sudden you get a hit, you got nowhere to set it. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I'm usually never using my arms. I'm not moving my arm up and down. It's basically always in my wrist right here. And like snap jigging, I'm snapping it like this. It's your wrist like this, and you can really see that. But when I'm fishing gills like this, it's more of a little twitch, twitch, twitch. But you see my arm is really not moving at all. I'm reeling as I'm going for my paws, just to take up that tension right there so I can feel it when I do pause when they hit. Now here's what you can do if you have a bad wrist and you can't get that pop out of it. What I'll do is I'll actually take the reel like this, and I do this with hair jigs, I do it with shiver minnows, I do it with spoons. Is basically what I'll do. If you have a bad wrist, I keep my arm, not even using my wrist. I'm basically going like this, just a revolution right there, like that, and I'm getting almost the same effect out of it. Hey everybody, this week's tip of the week brought to you by our good friends up at Mike's Country Meats, the finest jerky on the planet. Hey, this week's tip is going to be a little bit different. It's not a fishing or a hunting tip, but it's something that each and every one of us could utilize. I'm always worried, like right now, our house that's up in Minnesota basically needs a new roof put on it. And I don't know any contractors in that area at all. So I'm gonna ask the guys from Drexel today exactly how and what way would they go as far as trying to find a contractor that I can trust.
The best thing to look for is that local lumber yard where your residence is.
Okay.
Those people deal with contractors in that area, so when you're dealing with those local suppliers, they have a pretty good relationship and fairly long-term relationships with those local contractors. Typically, you're going to be buying your materials at that facility anyways, at that supply house, so they're not going to give a recommendation on where they're going to have problems later on.
Hey, no doubt, I definitely want to thank our good friends over at Drexel Building Supply. Hey, and I definitely want to thank our good friends up at Mike's Country Meats in Tigerton, the finest jerky on the planet. It's all about having a good time, and I'll tell you what, Brian, today was an awesome time. It's always impressive to see the quality of these fish down on this part of the system here. These are definitely, we let a lot of big ones go, got a couple that are going to get mounted, and we definitely kept enough fish to eat too. So I mean, without keeping our limits, and that's really not what we came down here to do, is to catch our limits and bring them home. But we came down here again to build good memories, and it's all about the stories. Hey, let's tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
You can get a hold of me at BigBeesGuideService.com, 608-219-0505.
That sounds good, Brian. I'll tell you what, and you do ice fishing, you do open water, yep. You got it all covered. Hey, I'll tell you what, Nick, what an awesome time we had. And you know what a great opportunity to bring Bill out and obviously enjoy some great fishing. Hey, but Bill, I'll tell you what, you're usually working 12, 14, 16 hours a day in your own business. And let's tell everybody really what you do.
It is our construction season. So yeah, I'm the owner of WG Customs in Ashford, Wisconsin. We're a full service general contractor specializing in custom homes, closed cell spray foam, pretty much any need you have for anything you live in. Now we edit it? Where are we taping all this for? Are you gonna edit some of this?
Well, I call it giving the finger and swimming away, but
right,
you know.
Better be careful, Brian. I watched a little UFC fighting the other night on YouTube.
You got a little spiced up?
I'm a little professional here. I only bring one a day, so don't step on it. Everybody's...
Larry, what's wrong with you? Oh my God.
I've never seen a fisherman with such a sensitive nose. Does it smell that bad to you?
Oh, he's actually carpet.
Doesn't smell that bad to me. Here's
No, get it away.
here's a clean bucket, you weirdo.
Weirdo? Who leaves that kind of a bucket in the back of the truck?
I thought it was just something that you did. Fish guts from yesterday in here. You can't carry them around. There's a little stink in there, but it doesn't smell that bad.
So bad.